In this video, let's go through the math behind the test of the chi-square test on independence. So we found out our expected values, and in this table we have the observed values. Now recall the chi-square test, it takes the differences between the observed values and the expected values to the power 2 divided by the expected values, and we sum this for every combination. So in this case, how would that work out? Let's have a look. It would be the chi-square test equals to, let's go for the first cell. The observed value is 100, so we have 100 minus the expected value for a blue package with a poor rating is 75, so minus 75 to the power of 2 divided by 75, which is the expected value from here. And we do that for the second cell. We go to 150 is the observed value, so that would be 150 minus the expected value of 125 to the power 2 divided by 125. I'll go to the right to keep writing because I need space, plus the value from the third cell is 150 minus the expected value for it is 175 to the power 2 divided by 175, which is the expected value. I'll write here below, plus this one over here, it's 125, the observed value, 125 minus 150, the expected value that we can calculated, to the power of 2 divided by 150, plus we go to this cell, to the 225, normal and pink. That's the observed value, 225 minus the expected value we calculated to be 250. Take that to the power 2 divided by the expected value of 250. And the last one would be the value of 375, which is, sorry, this one for oh yeah, this is something I forgot to do. Anyway, yeah, I forgot to also compute it for the cell of excellent, but never mind, we'll just work with it that way. So we have two more values over here. I'm gonna add them up because I have them on my paper, but I forgot to write them down. So just a second. So I just filled in this last cells here real quick. It's also a third out of the out of the total value for excellent rating, so that's 125, and then 2/3 is gonna have the pink color, which is 2/3 out of 375, which is 250. The math adds up to 375. Now we're gonna keep this in mind to see the differences between the expected values and the observed values. So we have one cell over here, which is 100 minus the expected value of 125 to the power 2 divided by 125, plus the other observed value of 275 minus the expected value of 250 to the power 2 divided by the expected value of 250. If we work out all this math on the calculator, we would get a value of 32.9. Now, just like with any other test, we have to compare our statistic, our value, to the critical value. And the critical value that we have to keep in mind, so the critical value for the chi-square distribution in the test of independence, and let's say we do it at a 5% significance level, is the degrees of freedom, which is r minus 1, so the number of rows minus 1, times the number of columns minus 1. That's going to be the degrees of freedom. Meaning we have a chi-square critical value at 5%, and here with row minus 1 times column minus 1, how many rows do we have? Let's have a look. We have 1, 2 rows, and 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So we will have 2 minus 1 times 4 minus 1. The critical value, 2 minus 1 times 4 minus 1, meaning that we have a chi-square distribution at 5% level, and here we have 1 times 3, which is 3 degrees of freedom. So the chi-square critical value at 3 degrees of freedom is gonna be, let me look it up. So the critical value is gonna be 7.81. Let's take these two into account to put them on the distribution and give a conclusion. So our value was 32.9. If we draw the chi-square distribution, which would look something like that, which is one-tailed only, because we take squared differences, and squared differences can only be positive. So we have a critical value of 7.81 7.81. That would be the rejection region, and the value that we found is 32.9, which is literally very far from the critical value, meaning that we are in the rejection region. So we have enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis, meaning that we find a significant relationship between color and rating. So as marketeers, we should keep this you should take this into account and see which color matters more to increase the rating, and then we can adjust it to improve our sales and therefore also make more money. Hope this makes sense, and we are done.